What's happening, everybody? WWE champion, Drew McIntyre here. It's been quite the week for myself. I managed to regain the WWE championship in a nail-biting match with Randy Orton, but in the end, I managed to hit the Claymore clean in the middle. Oh, 1, 2, 3. But also, it's been quite the couple of weeks for where I'm from, for Scotland. Over the lad comes second, a world's strongest man, came out of nowhere. And to top it off, Scotland, finally, for the first time since I was 13 and since 1998, qualified for the European Championship. Speaking of nail-biting stuff, we're winning till the 90th minute. Serbia equalised, went to extra time, went to penalties, and David Marshall saved the final penalty, helping us qualify. And here to talk about it right now is one of the Scottish heroes from that day, Scott McTominay. What's happening, buddy?
Good week, guy.
Oh, brilliant. It's a shame you weren't there, man. Honestly, it was amazing. The celebrations were special, especially when that last penalty kick was saved. I'm sure everyone at home was watching, but it was unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah. Speaking of the penalty, that's the funny thing about Scotland. I was actually filming something for WWE that day. I was in the corporate offices in Stamford, Connecticut, doing like an advert. And between every take, I was running, checking the results, and I was like, "We're going to do it." That's us. We're through. First time since I was 13. You were probably about 2 at the time. And then they scored, and it was 1-1. And they went into extra time. And then I'm panicking. I'm sweating because that's what Scotland would do to ourselves. Then it got to penalties, and that final penalty when Marshall saved it, his expression said it all. He still wasn't sure.
It was like this one. He was like, what's going on?
Yeah. Everyone tell me we did it. Make it official. He's just waiting for the final word that we'd actually pulled it off. And I think that was just like sums us up. Like, we're never quite sure when we do something, we succeed in somewhere, we just have to double check that we done it. We've done it. Big celebration. But please tell me about that moment when he saved the penalty. Like, you scored one yourself, yeah?
Yeah. So I went third, but honestly, Drew, with the VAR these days, I'm sure everyone who was watching, if the goalkeeper comes slightly off his line, then the referees can say, he was too far off his line, so then he has to take it again. Then because he's missed, he could score. But no, whenever Big Marshall saved that, it was all the videos were amazing, so good. Like, everyone singing Marshall's name for, I think, a good 3-4 hours in the hotel when we got back. But no,
sure. Tell us about that. How was that, like, after party? I mean, you can PG it up. I'm sure we can't talk about everything, but like, I'm sure that was some buzz and some party afterwards.
Yeah, well, we got back, and obviously all the staff were Serbian, so I don't think they were too happy about us singing and dancing and not trashing the place, but being loud and a bit rowdy. So no, whenever we got back, everyone wasn't even tired. We just played 120 minutes, and everyone was going for hours, to be fair. But no, that's the celebrations that you get. Everyone was so pleased, and you could see the relief on everybody's face whenever Marshy saved that penalty. Was just pure emotion, and obviously for myself, it was amazing. I spoke to my dad before the game and a lot of my family in Scotland, and they were just so pleased. Like, they couldn't have been any happier at that moment in time.
Well, yeah, I was buzzing in my mind. But if I could take you back, just kind of curious about your story. So you were born in England, is that true? And how did you end up playing for the Scotland national team?
Yeah, so I was born in Lancaster, so that's obviously England, and obviously the majority of my family are from Scotland, so they all live in Helensburgh. My grandparents, some aunties, uncles, and a lot of my cousins are from Scotland. I've still got family from my mum's side in England, who I see regularly as well. But I feel like the bond that I do have with every single person I know in Scotland and all my family there is so special. And obviously now for my grandpa and my grandma to see me go to the Euros with Scotland is so special, you know. And obviously for me, playing for England was never really in the equation. Whenever I was younger, I was a lot smaller. I never had an opportunity to play for England or Scotland because of my size, and obviously now that's changed dramatically. So for me, whenever the decision did have to come to play for Scotland, nobody even had to tell me to play for Scotland. That was what I wanted to do, and obviously for nights like that is what you remember it for. It was incredible.
It was amazing, mate, and that's I don't know. Like, I guess, like, the passion, I think the word sums up like Scotland and our people and our fans, and you've clearly got that passion yourself. I saw there's your man Ryan Christie after the game. You know, he did the interview. we had the tears going. But like, to be honest, at first I was like, "Is he going to cry?" But he was so passionate, and what he said was so true and so touching. By the end of it, I was like, "Oh man, I'm going to start going as well."
It was class. When we watched it, well, a few of the boys had it up because he had the drug testers after the game, so he didn't get back to the hotel at the same time as us. So they came a little bit later, and the lads seen the interview, and it was incredible. You know, whenever you look back on moments like that in a couple of years' time, it's similar to the moments that you've had recently. You look back at it and it won't quite sink in until, I don't know, maybe a year or two down the line, whenever it's like, wow, that was special, you know.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing I can tell you for sure. Like, just try and enjoy those moments. Like, you're still 23 right now. Like, I was in WWE.
Yeah.
Then I got signed from Scotland when I was 21. I went to America. I was with the company for 8 years, and then I got fired. And that first 8 years, I don't really remember. It was such a whirlwind. I just didn't take it in. I didn't take a minute to smell the roses and appreciate everything that was happening. And it's not till I returned a few years ago that I actually take those moments now, and I appreciate every single second and everything I do. And you're able to remember them if you take a moment just to think about them. So it's not you watching a videotape so you can remember what happened. Yeah. You just enjoy those moments, enjoy those games. But realistically, you're not going to forget.
It's so true that's so true. Like, even my time in the first team with Man United, like, it goes so fast. I remember making my debut, and it's like 3-4 years down the line, you're like, I need to like actually like recast my mind to them moments, because you can sort of almost take them for granted a little bit, and obviously in your career it's so short for the both of us, and obviously moments like that you can't forget as quick as they go.
No, that's the thing. Career's short, and as you get older, you find out life's short. You just want to appreciate everything, like personally and professionally. And but you've got a good head on your shoulders. You'll be grand. I was a bit of a crazy person when I was younger, so you've got a good head on your shoulders. Let's talk about that growth spurt. You mentioned earlier you had a bit of a growth spurt. Like, what height were you, and then what height did you grow to? Like, I heard about this growth spurt.
How tall are you?
I'm 6'5.5".
6'5.5", and you'll be what, 250, 60 pounds?
270 right now.
270. See,
yeah,
that's incredible, man. But yeah, so I was,
mate.
Yeah, well, you'll be good in the box. You'll be all right in the box. Yeah, so whenever I was 16, 17, I was really small. So I was probably about 5'6", 5'7", going through the youth team. So I was really small for really petite young boy, still waiting to go through that initial growth stage where you turn into a man sort of thing, where boys would do that at 13, 14. And I was way behind in that respect. So I got into the reserves, and then I went to about 6'1", 6'2", and I started enjoying the gym more. I started enjoying doing all that side of it, where I needed to be physically able to compete. And one thing led to another. This is what I'm saying about time goes so quick. You don't even remember the rate that you were growing at, and you were putting on size. I think now I'm 6'3" and 87 kilos, so 190 pounds, something like that. So for a footballer, it's a good size, you know.
Yeah. So, how quick did that happen over? Like, that sounds like.
Yeah, it was probably about 2 to 3 years. Yeah, so from like 16 to 19, the change in me was dramatic. Like, everybody who I would see, I was getting sick of repeating myself, saying to people, like, yeah, I've grown. Like, everyone would say to me, from my old coaches to friends at school who I hadn't seen for a long time, they would say, like, what has happened to you? Where have you been? I haven't seen you for a year, and you've changed so much. And obviously in football respects, that helps so much. Obviously for wrestlers, it's the same. Like, that size and physique, depending on what your style of wrestling is obviously so important. And for me, with football, it changed a lot. I used to be really small, different player to what I am now. Completely different.
Rumour has it you do work hard in the gym, probably the hardest in all of Man United. But also, I've heard a bit of a rumour, and hopefully this is not, you're a bit of a poser. You're one of the guys that whips off the shirt and poses in the mirror in front of the lads.
If I was as big as you, that top would be off, and I'd be. Nah, I like the gym. I enjoy the gym. The only reason why I do the gym a lot is because, in my opinion, it benefits me a lot with football. Legs, upper body, core. I feel like it's so important to have that power and that speed that you can generate. And the gym helps that. It's scientifically proven for footballers that it's a massive component in your training. And I feel like footballers can almost take it a little bit for granted. They might feel a bit too heavy and stuff like that. But the way my physique is, it's all lean muscle anyway. So it's not like I'm putting a lot of weight on. I would never fluctuate in terms of that respect. So, but no, I do on holiday. That's why you've got to work hard, you know.
Like, yeah, it makes a big difference for yourself, especially, you know, it's part of the package. And you've got that, you know, aggression, that passion, you've got that size, and you really like are a leader and command the respect of the pitch. So, you know, you're doing the right stuff. And plus, keep working on the physique. When I can get back to the UK, I'll still WWE title. Have ourselves a little pose down, and we'll sort something out with you now.
So how was it last week against Randy Orton?
It was fun. I was a bit worried. You know, I'd lost the last match against them. This time, it wasn't a hell in the cell. I don't know if you caught that match where I lost the title.
Yeah.
But the 20-foot cage, myself and Randy Orton were in, and he climbed on top of it. I hate heights with a passion. Like, absolutely despise heights. It was the main event of the pay-per-view. It was the third Hell in the Cell match of the night. My title was on the line, and I stupidly climbed up there on top of it. And I'm crapping myself. There's no safety nets up there. There's no one to catch you or any crash pads below. If you slip and fall, you've fallen off 20 feet. And we climbed down the side of the cage, and we're up there about 10 feet high. I'm almost 6'7" with my boots on, so I'm looking down like 17 feet. There's this little table that looks like a speck on the ground to break my fall. And if I fell off the side of the cage, I figured, oh, this is just not going to hurt. The table will break my fall. It hurt. It was 100% the most painful thing in 20 years of wrestling. I went through the table, bit through my tongue, got crazy whiplash, then lost my title. So I was glad to get the rematch with Randy. I was not so happy it became no DQ because he beat me to death with some chairs in there, which hurt so much. But I got the title back. I'm facing Roman Reigns this Sunday at Survivor Series. We're having a big celebration for The Undertaker and his 30th anniversary. So Survivor Series this Sunday is going to be cool.
Survivor Series, I used to love that one back in the day. WrestleMania. I used to watch wrestling all the time. My mum and dad could not get me away from that TV back in the day. It was terrible. I was addicted to wrestling and I loved it. But even now,
Sunday's a good one to check out.
Oh, it's class. Even with Brock Lesnar now, whenever he F5'd you the other week. Oh, when was it? It was April time.
WrestleMania, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm thinking, if Brock Lesnar did that to me, I would be out like a count for
he's
about
a beast.
2 months.
I remember when it happened because it was like literally the pandemic just hit, and I just found out instead of having WrestleMania in Tampa here, I've been here for like 13 years. That's why I've got the funny accent, Scottish American accent going on now, and everyone makes fun of me back home for it. But it was supposed to be down the street in front of 80,000 people, family and friends coming from Scotland, like that's like an 8-0, like a big Man U game with the fans there, or whatever. And I'm like, my goodness, I've worked 20 years. I'm in the main event. I'm against Brock Lesnar. It's going to be crazy with the last match. Pandemic hits. There's nobody there. And I'm kind of annoyed, frustrated, upset until I realized the severity of the situation and how much everyone was struggling around the world. And we were the only kind of sports entertainment pushing ahead to give the world an escape. Yeah. And I remember standing backstage, trying to get myself in the zone. No fans making any noise. Like, how am I going to get motivated for this? It's WrestleMania Drew. And I looked across the backstage area and I just saw Brock Lesnar standing there like a hairless gorilla. And I went, you're fighting Brock Lesnar, Drew. You better get in the zone right now. And as soon as I hit that ring, as soon as I saw Brock head to the ring and stare at me like, I'll eat you alive, I don't know what clicked in me, but in my mind, if you could read my mind, I was thinking, if you pull any funny business in here, Brock, I'll kick the crap out of you for real. And that's really what was going through my head, thinking about beating up Brock Lesnar for real.
And that's what I was going to say about fans. Like, for obviously you boys, like the fans are such a pivotal part in wrestling. To not have them there, I remember watching it and I'm like, this is crazy. Like, it's so much different to when the people are there to not. And it's the same with us as well. Like, that buzz of adrenaline that you get, you have to find that from, like, within yourself.
Yeah. How is that? I'm kind of curious, like, at the football games, like, how it feels not having the fans there getting absolutely mental the whole time.
Yeah, I know. It's just quiet. Like, it's fine. Like, it's bearable. But I feel like for us, like, entertainers, so to speak, like, we need that buzz and that adrenaline of the fans there, and obviously when they can help you in football matches, it's so important. So that respect of football is gone. Where if you're playing at home, it's like playing away. It's quiet. It's obviously you have to create that own noise within your own team. So for us, we miss the fans so much. Like, I can't explain to you how much the players miss the fans, like from both Scotland and at football as well.